With the 2027 general election on the horizon, the Nigeria Correctional Service is pushing for an inclusive voting system that would allow eligible inmates, especially those awaiting trial, to cast their ballot. Controller General Sylvester Ndidi Nwauche made the case during a meeting with the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja, stressing that many inmates have not been convicted and should not be stripped of their civic rights. Citing an example from Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa, where prisoners already vote. Nwauche argued that democracy is not just about fairness, but about justice, equality, and giving every citizen a vote. He urged the immediate implementation of the initiative, saying it would strengthen accountability and balance in governance.
To the notice of the chairman and his management and the commissioners of a particular group of people, of a community that may have been underserved and most often than not unnoticed, but play a critical role in this country, that they have the potential to also elevate the development of this nation, because in there are cesspools of intelligence, of potentials that can also add to this great nation. And who are members of this community? Those members are our inmates, people in incarceration, people that have found themselves on the other side of the law. Anywhere I go, I try to let people know that anybody can be in that community. So we need to be careful on how they are treated. We need to extend some of the rights that are also granted to people that are in the open society, because that place is an open-ended society, my prof. So the inmates of this great nation, I represent them as the Controller General of Corrections, over 81,000 of them, of which over 66% are awaiting trial persons who are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Even while as convicts or awaiting trial persons, they do have rights. And part of those rights are rights I'm here this morning to discuss with the INEC chairman to see how we can, if possible, extend some of these rights to these inmates. And this right is about voting rights, my prof, sir. I'm here following a court ruling on the voting rights of inmates in Benin that also escalated up to the appeal court, and there was judgment on it. Of recent, there's also a National Assembly resolution trying to let us know that these people have inalienable rights to vote. That for the mere fact that they are in incarceration, we should not deny them the right to vote because they are citizens of this great country.
INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu acknowledged the concerns, noting that court rulings have already affirmed the right of awaiting trial inmate to participate in election. He reviewed the joint INEC Nigeria Correctional Service Technical Committee is working on a framework for the process, but stressed that amendments to the Electoral Act are necessary to clearly define eligibility and operational guidelines.
We are aware that the right to vote is actually a human right, which cannot be taken away from a citizen on account of time being served in a correctional facility. In many parts of the world, including some African countries such as Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa, where our officials observed elections, inmates exercise the right to vote. The Commission is aware of the judgments of the Federal High Court in Benin, delivered on 16 December 2014, and the Court of Appeal also in Benin, delivered on 7 December 2018, pertaining to the right to vote by 5 plaintiffs awaiting trial. Based on the combined provisions of Article 25 of the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, and Section 25 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, on citizenship, the court affirmed the rights of the plaintiffs who were inmates awaiting trial to vote in elections. However, the judges in the two judgments ruled that the right to vote is only exercisable when asserted, as it is a choice to be exercised voluntarily by a citizen and not a duty to be imposed by force of authority. You may recall that in recognition of this situation, the Commission had several discussions with the Correctional Service on how inmates who wish to register and vote in elections can do so. When we set up a joint committee involving both INEC and the Correctional Service, we tried to look at all the nitty-gritty issues and technically review what is involved and the way forward. You availed us of data on the locations and types of federal correctional facilities nationwide. You also provided us with statistics on the various categories of inmates, the majority of whom are on remand awaiting trial, who may actually be registered voters. For our part, we raised the issue of access to the correctional facilities for voter registration, creation of polling units, and voter education. On behalf of stakeholders and for transparency, we also brought to your attention concerns about access to our facilities for observers and the media. Political parties also want to know if they will be allowed to campaign in the correctional facilities and appoint polling agents on election day. We believe that working together with you and the stakeholders, we can address these concerns.
While supporters hail the move as a milestone for Nigerian democracy, critics insist that if approved, political campaigns and voters' education must be extended into correctional facilities to ensure informed participation.